What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is episode 36 of The Daily Entrepreneur. I'm James, and I'm here with Jack and Josh, and we are the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, this is The Daily Entrepreneur, where the three of us bring an article to the table where it's some sort of news headline in business, tech, finance, and we debate our thoughts. So if you're new here and you want to see some new episodes every week, go ahead and subscribe below. But let's get into our first article today, Josh.
Absolutely. So we got one straight from the NFL where the NFL Sunday ticket goes to YouTube for $2 billion. And this is another streaming deal that the NFL has made that's taken away from cable, where you have Disney has taken the Monday Night Football, and now Amazon has also got Thursday Night Football. So what do you guys think about how major platforms and just major sporting events are getting away from cable?
Cable television is going out the door, and it's crazy because you talk about just the future of like digital marketing and digital advertising. It is all going on demand. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think it was a stat in the year, we've talked about this a lot, how marketing has, or more than 30% of the people in the last like 2 or 3 years, they have done away with cable and they've just gone streaming. Now that you're seeing football's going, soccer's pretty much gone for the most part. Baseball's extra innings isn't even on.
Baseball's still on cable.
But not for long, though, if we're going to be honest. Fights, for the most part, are all on pay-per-view. They're on demand. So the future of cable kind of advertising and marketing is looking sleek.
Yeah, I think honestly, this is the last generation of cable, and after that, it's done for. It's just and the cost of cable is just so ridiculous as well.
It's just not worth it anymore. Really, the only reason why people were sticking around for cable was for live sporting events because of those big contracts that those networks had. It was basically like you wanted to watch a big game, big playoff game. Well, the cable companies owned the rights to it, so you would have to basically tune in if you wanted to watch sports.
And for the millions of people that, decide to watch the news on cable, whether that's CNN, CBS, or Fox, they all have their own individual apps and streaming services and platforms now that you don't have to watch them on cable. So I think, again, like you said, once, the newer generations get older, there's not going to be, much
This is
cable
a big move for YouTube. So, like, what exactly is it basically just like Sunday football is all going to be on YouTube pretty much? Like, you just pull YouTube up? Or how do you pay for it?
It's the Sunday ticket. So pretty much you are able to watch the football games that are out of your local regional area. So if I lived in Virginia and I wanted to watch the Raiders game, that's what you can do pretty much through the Sunday ticket.
Gotcha. So you just pay for...
To get additional channels and get games that are out of your regional broadcast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, really interesting. So I think that brings us into our next topic. Yeah. And so basically, TikTok is going really heavily on the business side. It's coming out that their usual engagement rate for ads on TikTok, as well as just organic content that brands post, is around 6%, which comes at a lot higher than like a Facebook ad, which is around half of 1%. So you see this incredible change from one social platform to the other and the improvement of advertising for brands. What do you guys kind of think is the landscape for brands? They got to get on TikTok, and what's kind of the strategy there?
Well, I think it's a couple things. So one, I think every brand, especially in e-commerce, should be advertising on TikTok. I think it's also the cheapest platform to advertise on. Two is the reason I think TikTok ads are so successful is because their ads themselves just look like regular TikTok videos. Like you hire a good creator, get that UGC, and it looks like a regular video on the timeline.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the crazy thing is that although TikTok itself, from the organic standpoint, seems very saturated, I think the business side of TikTok is not. It's not as competitive because people are still latching onto like Facebook ads. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people compare TikTok ads today to what Facebook ads were in like 2012, which is pretty much like everything that you could post is just hitting. And I just feel like
the amount of projected growth, because I think that it was something of like $5 billion dollars or something like that was advertised in like 2021, but the amount of projected growth over like the next few years of like advertising on TikTok is supposed to be insane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially with all the data that they're taking from your phone as well, they must know all of us and their user demographic real well.
The big thing that they're wanting to push, though, however, is actually not really just B2C, but more so B2B. So, like, most ads you see, especially on Facebook, are all B2C. Well, TikTok's really trying to ramp up the business to business side of
So in
their
other words,
content.
like kind of like people providing services for other businesses, or
Yeah,
products for
100%.
other businesses.
Whereas-
Interesting.
whereas, like, you see-
so are they just going to target that in a particular way, or like from like business accounts to?
I guess what they're trying to do is get more brands and people that are heads of companies more involved in like making TikTok accounts that basically they also use the app as well, just like a normal user would, and then so that way they can be targeted as well from business services. But it should be interesting to see where TikTok goes in the next couple of years with their advertising and if they become the dominant player in the market. But I think that moves on.
Yeah, so our next topic is that New York lawmakers are now officially the nation's highest paid legislators after Governor Kathy, right before her inauguration, just signed a 30% pay increase for all New York legislators. However, in this bill that she had signed, there was a cap, and you can only have a maximum of $35,000 of outside income outside of your kind of the pay that you get as a legislator. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on this bill? New York just overtook California as now being the highest paid legislators, and kind of that whole outside income cap. What are your thoughts on that?
I have no problem paying legislators more as long as that there are some other rules on the back end that kind of make it fair and more justified. Reason being is like I've always been the advocate that kind of says while you're in office and like some period of time afterward, you cannot trade in public markets. Therefore, I think if that rule is in place, then yes, they need to be paid more because you're not going to be able to take the benefits of the stock market and of that sort of thing to remove any biases you have when making your laws. But at the same time, you should be offset by that with your pay. Like you should get paid more if you're not able to take advantage of the stock market. Which I would much rather have a legislator make an extra $100,000 than being able to make laws that'll help them insider trade 20 million.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a huge conflict of interest is being a rule maker and also having investments and being able to make decisions that could potentially benefit your own pockets. But I mean, the 30% increase, don't really mind. It just seems like they're just trying to keep up with inflation and some of the taxes that they impose in New York. So
the few things that were excluded from the outside income cap was like any pensions. So like if you were a former government worker, if you served in the military for 10, 15, 20 years, you'll get paid for the rest of your life. And that is something that I do agree with. I don't think that should be excluded from your pay because any position that you have, whether you go work for the state, you go work as a teacher, doesn't matter. You should always be able to kind of get those benefits. So I do agree with that. But as far as any loopholes where there should definitely be some oversight on people's abilities to, like you said, make legislation to kind of put more money in their pockets because that's been going on for far too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like for the security, make sure there's no biases for the lawmakers, and sure, you can even increase the pension too as long as those rules are in place. But I think that about wraps up our episode today, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you subscribe down below. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the articles today. Make sure you tell us what your favorite one was, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. So, quote of the day.
The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts.
very true.
We'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.